to immigration reform, telling Univision in Los Angeles, quote, "The day after, I'm going to be pushing to say, call a vote on immigration reform, and if I have to join with other advocates and continue out on that and keep pushing, I'm going to do so. Now is the time to do it." The looming debt ceiling and continuing resolution deadlines have sucked all of the oxygen out of Washington, not just for the last couple of weeks during the shutdown, but more or less for the last couple of months. Now the real work begins, and not just on comprehensive immigration reform, which has already had a pretty strong bipartisan vote in the Senate, but on the budget. And knowing the fact that both chambers will have to cobble together their various budget proposals and hammer out an agreed-upon long-term plan before the December 13th deadline for a budget conference committee. Will the budget issues be easier to solve once the chambers return to regular order, or can we expect another budget battle well into the holidays? Still with me is Joy Reid. Joining me now is Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Democrat from California, and Congressman Jim McDermott, Democrat from Washington. And Congresswoman Lee, I'll begin with you and ask you this question. We have now seen the so-called Hastert rule, which is essentially about as real as unicorns, violated on every monumental piece of legislation. Every accomplishment that's happened has passed without a majority of Republicans voting for it. That's the fiscal cliff deal, that's Sandy aid, that is now this deal. Why can't Speaker Boehner bring the Senate immigration bill to the floor tomorrow?
Well, certainly Democrats are going to work very hard, as the president has indicated he will work, to try to get this comprehensive immigration bill to the floor. But we know that there are many Republican Tea Party members who are here, who came here really, quite frankly, to dismantle the government and who came here to destroy the government. So I don't expect many votes from them, but there are plenty of moderate Republicans who I think really understand the value of and the necessity and the requirement that we pass comprehensive immigration reform right away. And believe you me, all of us are going to work to make sure that happens.
Congressman McDermott, here's a whip question you may or may not be able to answer, but I mean, this was brought tomorrow morning. If John Boehner just had a conversion experience tonight after this whole debacle that he engineered and said, you know what, screw it, let's just see what passes in this frickin' body, okay? And he brings up the Senate Comprehensive Immigration Reform Bill doesn't have 218 votes to pass.
It's pretty hard to deal with your hypothetical because John Boehner doesn't have the nerve to bring it up. He's already wondering if he's still the Speaker of the House. When he goes into that conference next week, it's going to be a real question whether he's still there. If he brought the bill up, he would have a large number of the Democrats would vote for it. I don't know what the Republican split is. Today, the Republican split was 84 votes for the bill and 144 against it. They are deeply split on the other side and very negatively split. So I don't know if we could pass an immigration bill even with, unless we put up every single one of our votes.
The only time there has been anything passed, it's been with some kind of deadline or crisis impending. And the question is there any hope of some kind of regular order producing anything useful out of the House without some kind of impending deadline? Congresswoman Lee.
Yeah, Chris, these are manufactured crises, actually, and they're manufactured by the radical Tea Party Republicans. Hopefully, the public really has sent a message to them that they want to see a functioning government. They want to see people getting back to work. They want to see jobs created in our country. They want to see us get back to what we call regular order.
Congresswoman, you just said the magic word jobs, which has been essentially absent, particularly during this shutdown period. Joy, I want you to talk to me about what the vision for a budget is and if there's any relief for the people out of work who are essentially completely forgotten by much of Washington, particularly the Republicans in Congress, right after we take this break.